here's the start of this place, right, Mike?
Okay, yeah. Swing around to see what the views are that we have. As you can see, quite substantial.
Pretty cool, but it's come a long way, right?
Yeah, long way. This line of poles right here, it runs. We got our nice pillars. There's a chain that goes across in case we ever need to. We've owned this since 2015.
Is that how long?
I think,
So
yeah,
what,
right.
7 years now?
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, we've been up here a little over 2.
Okay.
So 2 years and 6 months total up here to get it to this state.
This was 3 acres,
3
right?
acres, yeah.
How did we find this place?
Zillow.
Zillow?
I hate to tell everybody, but Zillow is probably the most outstanding way to buy it because it gives you a wide variety within the neighborhood and you're not hassled by having to go to a real estate agent and all that.
Yeah.
You can find out your own information. And we had to actually go to the LA County and find out the mapping and get the maps to figure out exactly where they were. Once we got that, we realized it was a 3 acre that went all the way to the top here. We cleared the entire thing of all the excess brush, so in case a fire came blazing up the side, it wouldn't have any fuel to keep continuing. And so we did it down there to limit when a fire comes up, it'll stop when the fuel runs out, and then it can go sparsely from tree to tree, but you can actually fight that. That's not an issue.
Yeah.
When it's like this, with this just continual fuel, you can't stop it. And especially when it's coming up a hill, because it just, the heat rises and there's nothing you can do unless you have it mitigated by taking care of most of the stuff.
Right. We first got here though, what was the first thing? We kind of got the driveway in order.
Yeah, we got the driveway, and then just getting in here with the dozer that does this road, so we could easily get through, because we had we thought we would never be able to get up and down that road. That's just not the problem. It's more this road coming out of here. So,
So he came in and kind of widened it enough to get us started. And,
it was just barely a little tiny road when he had it. I added probably 3 to 4 feet that way by taking the mountainside down and widening it this way. And I took that dirt and added it to the hillside here with one tank, thinking, that's a lot of water, right? But the problem is when we got that one tank filled up, and I realized you pay for the whole truck, you don't pay for a half a truck. So we basically gave the first load of water away.
Yeah.
So we ended up just picking up another tank, piping it in, and now when we get water, we drain the water truck of everything. So we get all the water that we buy instead of half of the water that we purchase. When I was digging over here where I'll show you, I was able to get almost all these rocks from the hillside. I had to dig out, and the leveling I had to do, these rocks were incorporated in all that over there. So I just decided to put them into a rock wall. When you first got this, you guys moved in here.
That's
and
right.
The property for about 6 months, living here, extremely off-grid.
That's right. Let's take a peek in here. Actually, that's kind of interesting.
It had a few issues, like in the winter when it rains, it would sweat, and so it would drip. So we put some insulation walls in the ceiling, so now it doesn't drip anymore in the winter.
Yeah, just a little storage container. That's the old bunk. The top shelf was a bunk, and then we had a bed underneath. Yeah, we camped up here for a couple months. It was great.
And then when I moved in, the first thing we did when I moved in is start to construct this. So the
solar stuff.
Yeah, and we just had the solar panels, and I had some aluminum bars that I was given.
Yeah.
And so I just incorporated them and built a way to hold it in place, and figured out our sun location for morning and afternoon when the dust is, and it just lined up with our storage container. So that was pretty easy. On the side had to come out about 2 feet, and then it got put over here so I could widen the road so we could actually get a truck in here. This rock right here came down to here. So when we first got out, we just barely could get the car through, and you were like this on the side when you went over the hill. So I ended up with pick and shovel and stuff. I had to knock all this out. This is solid rock. We keep all the trees, incorporate them. We have to work around them. It's just what we do, who we are.
You've done all this stuff by hand, right?
Yeah, pretty much hand.
You just collected all the rocks with whatever?
Collected all the rocks. Oh yeah, the big retaining walls. We move things around, use them for one thing and use them for another. As you can see, these These right here were first used here, then they got used in the garden over here as a retaining, and then the railroad ties that you used to use now became retaining walls.
Yep, little motorcycle area. Mike, you got some, what are these cactus?
And these are blue agave cactus. This is what they make mezcal tequila out of.
Yours are growing fast.
Yeah, much faster than normal because I water them on a weekly basis. We've taken, this is the brush that was all the way up there. It was that dense. If a fire started here, down at the bottom, every one of these trees would be burnt up. So in the long run, we're going to strip all the stuff off of the hillside down there, doing the same here to save these trees and to make sure when the fire comes, because the fire will come.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. Luckily, this hillside right here is probably the only hillside that hasn't burned in 100 years.
Seems that way,
because look at the size of this oak tree. And there's no burn scar marks on it. This one here, look at this. This is probably the largest on our entire property.
How old do you think that is? Do you have any guess?
Well, when you consider these are a slow growing scrub oak, that's over 100 years old. So probably this place hasn't been hit. And as you can see, we see dead stuff where it's grown up and then died because of the drought.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't see any fire remnants like right here. Oh, this used to be beautiful. Manzanilla bushes and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that was fabulous, but the droughts hit it. So we have a few manzanillas that are protected. There's a manzanilla right down there, the shiny leaves. They're beautiful, but you know, they have to have rainwater, which luckily they got last year. A lot of this, as you can see, this here, I built that, I put it underneath the trail here, and then raked down dirt and cut this trail in and used it to expand the size of the trail. You can't just scrape off all this brush and not do something. You've got to have a plan to do something with the stuff you do, and taking it away is a little bit cost prohibitive. Had one of our neighbors say to me that, why'd you buy that piece of property? There's no buildable space.
Right.
And I looked at him like, you just don't have a clue. Because we had very little square footage of space to build on when we first got here.
Yep. Yeah, you got to be creative. That's the whole deal with getting cheap property in California and trying to make it work, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we brought this big one up. That was funny. Look, we bent the bumper because we drug it on the road.
The driveway at the base at that point in time had such a kick in it up like this when it went up that the bottom bottomed out and dragged on the highway now.
Well, cool, Mike. Thanks for the walk around. Next time we'll dig into the more. There's a ton of Mike's got a ton of projects and he's got plans for everything around here, and we're gonna pick his brain and see what it takes to get this done in Southern California on the cheap.
That's it.
Stay tuned.
Thank you.